So, a few months ago, I made a list of things that I want to see in Prime 4, and throw that out the window. It's absolute garbage because something has changed since then. Well, two things actually. One, I played Metroid Dread finally. And two, I also played a game called Prey from 2017. And that's changed a lot of my thoughts. So, what do I actually want from Prime 4? Well, I don't want a boss mode. That's one of the things I said. I don't want that. Especially if they're going to be anything like Dread's bosses, that's garbage. I don't want a boss rush mode. Just throw that out. What else do I want? I actually think that introducing a little bit of open world exploration in the vein of Prey. Now, Prey is technically an open world game, but I don't really see it that way. It very much locks you into certain areas until certain conditions are met or until you accomplish certain objectives. And Prey actually felt very Metroid-like to me. And I really loved it. Honestly, it's kind of dethroned Metroid Prime as my number one game of all time as of right now. So yeah, I liked it that much because it felt like a natural evolution of a game like Metroid Prime. Now, it does have its own unique twists. If you haven't played it, I would highly recommend it. Also, avoid looking up spoilers. I'm not trying to make this a review of Prey, but you really should play Prey and not look up spoilers. It'll ruin a lot of the atmosphere and ambiance. But play it if you haven't, and then come watch this video maybe. But I just really liked how, as the story progressed, you upgraded your character and you could kind of have more abilities and things like that. And I feel like they could do that because Samus has her Varia suit, which is just an upgraded power suit, and you could definitely have some sort of tree with abilities. I know that that's something that a lot of games kind of shoehorn in, those skill trees, but I feel like it could really work in Metroid. For example, maybe you upgrade your jump boots, and then that allows you to enter a room just by jumping over certain obstacles. Or maybe you could upgrade your speed, and that allows you to run through a certain area and enter an area a different method. So basically, the abilities that you unlock would determine what paths open up to you, similar to Prey, but based on Samus's Varia suit. I think that would be a really novel concept and just kind of go all in on the suit. Another thing that I mentioned is that I wanted more use of Samus's gunship, and I also retract that statement. I don't think the gunship should really show up all that much in this game because playing Prey made me realize that I think Metroid would work really well if they scaled things back. In Prime 3, they kind of opened things up with the Galactic Federation and a whole bunch of other things that made it seem epic, but also a wee bit bloated, right? Because Halo 3 kind of came out around the same time, so they're trying to build up and make it a huge space epic thing. But I'd say we scale it back. If we scale it back to something akin to Prey, where you're basically alone and isolated on a space station, that atmosphere is just so... I wanted to say oozy. It's probably not the right word, but it just oozes atmosphere. That's better. And I want that from a Metroid game. The loneliness. But that also doesn't mean that we don't have exploration or character development. Something that 2017's Prey does really well, but also I just hate having to add the parentheses 2017 to Prey every time. Like, just shouldn't named it Neuroshock. But there's audio logs and there's like a bunch of different things that you can collect in the game. There's even a scan visor, essentially. It's a psychoscope is what they call it, but it lets you scan enemies and collect information on them and upgrade abilities. So it very much feels like a Metroid Prime-like game. And I would love for Prime 4 to take hints from that game. So anyone who worked at Arcane or whatever, I hope that you're maybe looking at working on Prime 4 if you aren't already, because that would be great. But because of these audio logs and all this extra content, you're able to tell a story. And Prey does that very well, while still offering options and freedom. And it's a delicate balance that it pulls off very well. And if we were to put something like that in a Prime game, I think it would be amazing, because Samus doesn't really talk, and I don't think she should. We saw what happened when that happened. It was not great, right? But by having these audio logs and other characters that aren't necessarily present, but still kind of in the environment, because even though there are non-player characters in Prey, you still feel very much isolated. And when they eventually do show up, you still are doing your own thing. It's not like the Galactic Federation and you teaming up and going berserk on the space pirates, right? And so I think that there's definitely a way to tell a really good story with that. And set it on a space station, set it on a desolate planet, bring us back to the roots of the Prime games. Scale things back. I think that would work amazingly. Hopefully people aren't too turned off by Dread, though, and they'll buy it, because that's kind of my concern, which I did a whole video on. But let me know your thoughts. What are you feeling about Prime 4? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you nervous-sided? Optimistic? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care.